So I'm back in Bitwig Studio 2, brand new update, whole bunch of new things, and one of those I'm very excited to tell you is basically a note device, and this is to give me the capability to build chords using one finger. So that's what I've been after for ages. You may recall there was a video that I put together a while back which used a container with multiple instances of the Polysynth to create those one finger chord notes. So now we have a dedicated device. I've got my Polysynth ready here. That's just a note, that's as it is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the note effects section here. I'm going to click on the blue plus and we're going to navigate, right? So we've got note effect devices. Let me just focus on Bitwig. Come over to the right hand side and what we've got is multi note. Now when I first looked down the list, I didn't recognize that this was a chord device because I was kind of assuming it would say chord in the name. But take a look at this. We have the ability to add a whole bunch of extra notes on top of the one that you're using. It's very important if you want to include the note that you're originally playing, that this top slot is allocated to that note. So that would be set to 0. Now take a look at this one. This is plus 12 semitones, plus 7, plus 4, minus 12, minus 24, minus 17, and a range of different velocities as well to create that kind of human element. Let me show you how this sounds now. That's not really the kind of chord that I'm into. So you guys know the kind of chords that I like. And what I've done is I've collected a bunch of these that I put together on my synthesizer, my MPT Deep Synth. This is something that I built in Reactor. So I've got some of those textures in terms of the notes here on some presets. And I've created this one over here called Super Jazz. Those of you who are musicians will probably be able to tell me exactly the chord name. You can see underneath here I've got these labeled as correct chord names, you know, major 13, major 6-9, etc. Super Jazz, I've got no idea what it is, but let me just show you here. I've gone for maximum velocity across it all. My first original note is the same, and I'm going plus 3 semitones, plus 7, plus 10, plus 14, plus 17, and minus 7. Don't ask me how I got to that. To be honest with you, the sort of thing that sometimes I do is I sit there, I play, I adjust notes till I find something I like. Okay, but look, have a listen to this. So that's wicked. You know, I've got myself those kind of chords that I really like. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a couple of tweaks that I'm going to make. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down. We're going to first add some envelope depth here. So this is a filter envelope depth. Now this means that this envelope here is going to adjust the cutoff frequency relative to the position of this cutoff knob here. So if I slow the attack and bring the frequency down, have a look at what happens. Now I love the sound of that already. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my release out of it. So that's on the amp envelope and also the filter envelope. Let's have a listen now. Let's take it even longer. I really want to get a little bit of a tail on the end of that sound. That's really nice. But let me just add something here. We're going to increase the resonance. Loving the sound of that. But this is Bitwig Studio 2, so you know I've got to show you something about the new modulators, haven't I really? It's only going to be fair. Let me just have a play around with something. Let me take the oscillators and balance them up. So we've got a sawtooth here on oscillator 1, and this is a pulse wave over here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape that to sawtooth and look at the pitch. Okay, so it's 4 foot, 8 foot. Have a listen now. So it's kind of like it's an octave up. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you something here. Listen to what happens if I adjust the sync control. Instead of me moving that control, why don't I bring in one of these new modulators? So on the left hand side, I'm going to click the plus. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose something that's moving. Okay, so we're going to take the LFO. It's a real obvious choice. You can see this moving now. We can click on the arrow to basically work through different parameters, change the shape, change the speed. And look at this, that little dot goes through the trajectory, so it shows you the movement. It's going to be used to modulate something over here. Nothing's being modulated just yet, so if I click on this, I can now adjust the sync. So can you see that's moving? Let me slow that LFO down. Now what this means is it's going to add a bit of movement to the sound. All right, have a listen. Sounding wicked, but you know, I'm feeling maybe just a little bit too much, so I'm going to reduce the amount here. Another thing that I'm going to do is add not a note effect, I'm going to add an audio effect onto this chain. And so what I'm looking for is something that's Bitwig, and you can see here we've got a really nice way to navigate through the categories. I'm going to go for delay 2. Let's just take a look at the mix level, bring this down. Let me increase that LFO speed just a touch. So how good is that? You know, just within a few clicks, I've got myself a really interesting pad sound that moves really nicely with my chord. The selection there with the multi-note, all of those notes making that really, really nice chord there. So I just wanted to share that with you. Super excited about the fact that the multi-note device does exist. It's something that's similar to the Chord device in Ableton or Cubase chord pads, although they do have their own little twist, of course. Logic has its own device as well. So really great to see this. Thank you, Bitwig Studio. Guys, this is something I've been after for a real long time.